What's up YouTube? I wanted to talk today about one of my favourite things to do when at Disney World, which is to explore some of the resorts. I love resort hopping. I've been to many of the resorts now in my last few trips, and it's one of those things that you just get to really enjoy the peace and quiet sometimes of being in one of the resorts, just wandering around, having a look at the scenery, the architecture, the theming, the way that things are, the sort of music that they play, and how the different resorts compare to each other, and how you can change the vibe in such a short space of time just by heading across to a different resort. I actually really enjoy doing this. It's one of my favourite things to do. I really appreciate the surroundings of all the different resorts. And I thought I'd share one of those experiences with you today. So I'm going to move myself into the corner, put some pictures up as I talk through it as well, and we're just going to talk about one of my favourite places to go at Disney World that is external to one of the parks. I think that resort hopping is underrated at Disney World. I think there's a lot of people who get so involved with, you know, your Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom and the actual theme parks themselves that we forget sometimes to appreciate all of the incredible things that go on at Disney World in the surrounding areas, how perfectly themed some of the resorts are, just how beautiful the entire thing is in the surroundings. You know, even when you go around on the monorail, you can see just how spectacular everything is around you. You know, when you think about Bay Lake and the Grand Floridian as you approach, you know, your Magic Kingdom, it's just a magnificent place to be, and there are so many different elements that make Disney World so fantastic that I think sometimes we forget to appreciate all of those. So my favourite thing to do at Disney World that doesn't involve one of the parks is to park up and walk around the Swan and Dolphin Hotel, onto the Boardwalk, including the Yacht and Beach Club resorts, and that entire area around the back end of the Epcot theme park. What I would usually do is go and park the car in Fantasia Mini Golf car park and have a round of golf before going into the resort area at the Boardwalk. So I would park the car. We've gone many times and played the Fantasia Mini Golf. You know, you've got both courses. Fantasia is so much fun. And if you want to have a more competitive game with your friends, you can play the slightly more challenging course that's actually more like a mini golf course. Or you can play the fun course, which gives you the hints and tips from the Fantasia movie, and you make your way through. And that golf course is so much fun because it's so interactive. You know, you put the ball in the hole and something happens, or some water will squirt somewhere, and I've had a lot of fun playing on both of those courses. So that's the first thing that I would do when sort of heading into this kind of area behind Epcot. From that point, if you look on a map, you go across the road from Fantasia Mini Golf and you head towards the Swan and Dolphin hotels. Now, as you go across the road and you head through into this open area where the Swan and Dolphin Resort is, you're just immediately immersed in this beautiful surrounding. There's a lake with a beach and all these palm trees, and the Swan and Dolphin hotels themselves are quite spectacular in their own way, you know, with a great big triangular building at the top. And I've taken many pictures in this area because for me personally, this is one of the most beautiful spots in the entire of Disney World. It's peaceful, it's quiet, it's elegant, and just the way that it looks, everything is so pristinely kept in this area. So this is one of my favourite photo spots, and it's also one of my favourite, or probably is my absolute favourite area to walk through on Disney resort properties. You can walk straight, as I said, from Fantasia Mini Golf all the way through to the Boardwalk, and that entire walk, as I'm showing you now with these pictures, it's spectacular in my opinion, and this is why it's one of my absolute favourites, and I wanted to share it with you guys, because if you haven't done this yet, I highly recommend that you go through and you just visit this area and just have a walk around, because you will love it. So as you go through the Swan and Dolphin, you head over a bridge that takes you towards the Boardwalk. That bridge, obviously the boats, the Disney transportation boats are going under the bridge. You can get another set of amazing pictures from that bridge, again of the resorts, of the hotels, or of the lake and the boats and things like that. And if you are a photographer and you love to take pictures, this is one of the greatest places that you can be in Disney World, because there's just so many different elements to the pictures that you can take. Now, if you continue from this all the way through to the Boardwalk, you go under the Boardwalk sign and head towards it. You have like the, I think it's like a disco club on your left side, and the Jewel piano bar on the right. And then as you head around the Boardwalk again, it's a different experience to where you were 30 seconds ago, but it's also just as beautiful. You've got the massive open lake with the Yacht and Beach resorts over on the left hand side, and Epcot is over on your right hand side, and you can walk directly to Epcot from here as well. There's just so much to see, so much to look at, so many nice views. Again, it's one of the most relaxing places away from the hustle and bustle of the parks, because whether you're a young couple or whether you're parents with children, the parks can get very intense, especially on a hot day if it's busy. The parks could be busy time of year, and during the day everybody from the resorts flocks to the parks. So why not do the opposite and just spend a little bit of time at one of the resorts, just having a wander around, grab a drink, grab an ice cream, and just sit down and enjoy the peace and quiet for a couple of hours. This is something that I would usually do before heading back into the park for the afternoon. So I would go to the park in the morning, maybe for breakfast if I had a reservation, do a couple of rides before it gets too busy, have a little wander around, take some nice pictures, and then I'd head out of the park around lunchtime when it gets really busy, go and explore one of the resorts, have some lunch, have a snack, sit down and just have a cold drink sometimes and just enjoy the peace and quiet for a little while. I'd do that for maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then I'd head back into the park around 5, 6 o'clock when maybe it starts to quieten down a little bit during the evening. This is typically something that I would do on most of my Disney park days, because it's rare that I would spend the entire morning from sort of 8 o'clock in the morning all the way through till firework evenings and leaving at 10 o'clock at night. I'd like to have a break in the middle, get out of the park, do something a little bit different, and maybe just see a little bit more of Disney World before heading back in. I think in general, resort hopping is, as I said at the beginning of the video, it is underrated. Some of the pictures that I'm showing you now that I've taken at the resorts, you wouldn't get to experience that kind of imagery unless you were able to explore some of the different themed hotels. I'm going to do plenty more videos on these as we sort of go through time, because as I said, this is one of my favourite things to do. So it's just something that I want to share with you guys and maybe give you a little bit more knowledge about it, so that it's something that you could maybe consider doing on one of your trips going forward. But back to the boardwalk. So the point where I got to was sort of walking around the boardwalk, having a sit down, getting an ice cream. You've got the ESPN bar there as well, which is great to grab some lunch, a great spot for a proper burger or a nice piece of food from there, and you can sit and watch some sports or just enjoy your lunch, and then you can head back out into the sun and have a walk around on the boardwalk. The boardwalk at night is another thing, because you've got obviously all the games to play. They have live entertainment. Sometimes there's somebody playing music and it's differently themed. You've got all the different places that you can sit, you can have a drink, you can go for dinner. Now if you go a slightly different way, instead of heading under the boardwalk sign from the Swan and Dolphin Hotel, if you carry on round over that bridge and take the next right, you'll head down into the Yacht and Beach Resort. Again, beautiful views of the lake. You've got the beautiful lighthouse in the middle, which again makes for some beautiful images. You can take some great pictures of the lake, of the boats, of people going in and out. And again, I've taken some fantastic pictures here, which again I'll be sharing with you as I talk about this. Then if you carry on heading round and you head into the Yacht and Beach Resort, you've got my favourite restaurant in the entire Disney property, which is the Yachtsman Steakhouse. Now, the Yachtsman Steakhouse I've eaten at now 3 times, and I've got to say that it's the absolute best piece of steak that I've eaten in the entire world at any point in my life. It is absolutely spectacular. It's an incredible piece of meat. I remember I sat there at some point and I asked the waitress how they actually cooked this piece of meat to be so beautifully perfect, and she spent a good few minutes explaining the process to me, and I was so excited at that point because it's just a magnificent piece of meat. And if you've not eaten here yet and you regularly visit Disney World, I would highly recommend that you go and sit in this restaurant and just experience high quality service and exquisite food. It really is spectacular. It's one of the best places to go on a date if you are a young couple. I would recommend that you go here for dinner. It's not the cheapest in the world. I think it's around $50 for a fillet steak, but again, it's absolutely worth it. And I took some of my friends there last year. Again, we went and we had a round of golf, and then we went for a quick walk, went to the Yachtsman Steakhouse for dinner, and they all said that it was absolutely worth it, and I have it booked again to go this year, and I cannot wait. So those are some of the things that I love doing in this kind of area. Again, I hope you enjoyed the pictures that I'm sharing with you, because they really are, to me, they're some of my favourite pictures on Disney property. I love taking pictures of the castle, and I love taking pictures within the parks. Animal Kingdom, you can get some great pictures. but at the same time, some of the architecture and the way that these resorts are kept, the way Disney have created these to be so different but so close together, to me is one of the greatest things about Disney World. You know, I love the parks to pieces, but the resorts for me are just so much fun to explore, and I think it's great that Disney allow you to do that. You know, they open the resorts up, they don't expect that you are hiring a room there in order for you to be able to explore the surrounding area. So, you know, the grounds of the resorts, all sorts of resorts as well, you know, it's not just this kind of area. You know, you've got some of the other ones that are a little bit further away, like the Animal Kingdom Lodge, which are just, they're all so beautifully unique, and they've all got their own theming and their own music, and there's a completely different feel depending on the resort that you go and visit. No two are the same, they're all very different, and they've all got their own qualities. And I vow to visit a few more this year. I want to get around all of the resorts so I can absolutely choose my favourite, but I really think it would be difficult for any other resort to knock the sort of Boardwalk area off, because for me that is my absolute favourite. And every time I go there, you know, you go to Florida and you're excited to go to the parks and you're excited to go on the rides and meet the characters and eat the food, etc. But for me, one of my absolute favourite things to do that I can never wait to get there. You know, I just want to get there straight away as soon as I get to Florida, is to just visit this area, because it's just a happy place. And I enjoy the peace and quiet and just everything about it. So if you have been, and if you've experienced the Boardwalk for yourself and sort of walked around that area, please do let me know in the comments below. You know, I'd love to hear from you guys. I love the discussions. I love talking to other people that share my passion for, you know, the parks and the resorts and Disney World in general, because when you talk about being a Disney fan, you know, obviously you've got your typical Disney fan of like the films and the princesses, and you know, it's young kids and all that kind of thing. And I love what it does for kids. I love what Disney does for kids and how it looks after them and takes them to a different place where they don't have to worry about things. And you know, the world's a better place with Disney in it, in my opinion. But for us adults, there are other things to enjoy. I love the parks, I love the rides, I love all that kind of thing. But for me, Disney World in general, and what Walt Disney and his company have managed to achieve from what was originally just some orange groves in the middle of Florida, is incredible. You know, it's its very own city. They've got their own resorts, 23 resorts I think it is now, hundreds of restaurants, their own transportation and roads and rivers and lakes, and all man-made, and they created this from nothing. And to give us all of that as a unique experience and somewhere so incredibly magical that takes you away from the reality of the real world and struggles and things that might worry you and stuff, just, for me, you can't beat that. And I will continue hopefully to go to Florida every single year for as long as I can, because it's the best place in the world. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. You know, I'm new and I'm just starting to put out some videos. It is very new for me and it's all a bit surreal in the time being, but I am absolutely enjoying making videos and sharing them with you guys. So if you have taken the time to watch this video and you've enjoyed it, please do comment below. You know, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to have discussions with my first few subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed already, then please do. You know, I really appreciate it. And as a content creator, every new subscriber means something to you, because that shows that your work is paying off. So it does mean a lot to me, and if you've got to this point in the video, then please do subscribe, because there'll be plenty more content coming out. I'll be posting regularly. I think I'm going to aim for once a week at the minute, because I've got other projects going on and things too. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be posting one again next week. Thanks very much for watching.